Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, y'all? I'm jumping on here. I'm kind of feeling like I'm in speed mode because I honestly, today's September 9th, 2025, which of course makes this the 999, portal. And lately, I've been kind of keeping my energy contained on special days, even lunations and things of that nature, like just kind of grounding myself sacredly. But I don't know, I just got the urge to jump on, and I'm also participating in the prayer event that the nun is the ghetto nun, if you know, you know, is hosting today. For the portal, where people just kind of touch and agree in their own places in prayer at specific times. And today it's at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., whatever your time zone is. So if you happen to catch this, I guess it's never too late to jump into a prayer, like a prayer flow, especially when you know there are like-minded people engaged in it. But the next one for me, or it should be the last one, which is at 9, but I actually missed 9 a.m., believe it or not, because I missed my alarm. So I actually prayed on the West Coast time at 12, which was cool because I know I was praying at the same time that she was, which is not usually the case because she's in California. So I'm committed to the 9 o'clock hour for my original cycle, which would be for the East Coast, and then I'm going to jump in again at 12 a.m., which would be 9 o'clock West Coast time. So just kind of trying to make up for what I missed out, because whenever I commit to a prayer event, I take the time very seriously. I've never missed the time, so that was kind of strange. But anyway, so I'm speeding up as if you needed to know all that. Really, the only purpose of me telling you that was to invite you to jump into the prayer cipher, if you will, today, if you want to. By the time I post this East Coast time, it'll probably be well past 9 by the time it uploads, but you can still pray at like 12 a.m. and technically that'll be on the West Coast vibe, and you'll still be right in the flow, and hopefully I'll get it posted well before then too. So anyway, I hope that this day is prosperous for you nonetheless. I hope that it feels full. Cleansing is definitely a powerful day for the completion of past cycles, old cycles, and as we're getting ready to enter into a new season, perhaps new cycles, perhaps a new timeline, however it is, however deep it gets for you. There's definitely something new for everybody on the horizon. So I hope that you are particularly poised for what's ahead, however that looks for you. All right. So anyway, let's see what we got. Now, you know what? I'm just going to shuffle off the top because I really want to make this a quick message. Moving forward, I'm really going to try to break messages down to more to like 30 minutes. I know I've said that before, and I said, ooh, love it. And I say that all the time. But I know, I trust me, I know that when you see a message for an hour, I don't care who it is, it's hard to commit to that. So I would love to be a little bit shorter winded, which means for future, I may just jump into the message without all the Queen of Swords, but it popped back, so I'm not gonna take it. I may jump in with less small talk in the beginning and just get straight to the cards to shave some time off the top. But I do like the small talk at first, and it's like It's like showing up. It's like calling somebody on the phone even and just getting straight into some tea. Like, hello, how are you? Or waking up in the morning and like, I don't know, like how your kids sometimes wake up and start asking for stuff before they even say good morning. My son don't do that too much, but every now and again, he just starts talking and I'm like, good morning, hello. You know, it's my greeting, you know. The only opportunity I have to really and sincerely say to you that I hope you're doing well, because I do. So anyway, this looks like somebody, okay, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, interesting. I don't know how we're going to do this. I guess let's just keep going across maybe. So there's some type of gift that is being passed down. Damn, really? Is this where we're going right now? Because really what I see is somebody looking back at a time when they had the opportunity to take advantage of a gift or receive a gift. Like this is an offering that someone, it was like at somebody's fingertips. Like all they had to do was reach out and grab it. But there was a rejection here. Let me see. Let me get another one. Or refusal. Because somebody was skeptical about the value of it. Okay, because it was a gift that presented itself as a cup of love, as opposed to it being like something spiritual or emotionally driven, as opposed to it being materially based or tangible. And so someone weighed their options of what they felt would be most beneficial to whatever it is they were building. They were looking forward to building something here with the Two of Wands. And when they considered this offering, they may have seen, either they saw it for something less, I will say, than what it actually was, or they valued it at a lesser price, a lesser worth than what it truly was, and or they were misinformed. Something about this Page of Swords is either they were misinformed or ignorant, you know, or misguided in some type of way, perhaps. Like they had the wrong information of what benefit or advantage accepting this offer would have in the long run. Yeah, because the Two of Wands is like somebody looking toward like the horizon, the future, and considering things that are going to be stable, secure, advancing for the long run. And they just didn't see what was a Ace of Pentacles. They revered it as a cup. And I would say in the Four of Cups, they didn't necessarily even see it as the Ace of Cups, of which it was clearly in some way, shape, or form. They saw other options. They either saw that option as something lesser than what they already had in front of them or what they have had in the past, or as just a run-of-the-mill type of thing. Like, oh, I could get that, that comes a dime a dozen, or I could get that somewhere else, or at a lower price, or, you know, it was just, somebody was misguided. All right, let's see what else is here. Queen of Swords comes out again. That's definitely about acceptance. Yeah, like again, it's just sometimes with the Queen of Swords, it can be a matter of telepathy. Yeah, especially next to this Four of Cups, is like somebody's channels were off. You know, like they were tuned into the wrong channel, or they got the wrong message, or they didn't even listen to their intuition in general. and they were either unaware of something, or again, they just refused to accept something for face value, or they refused to accept, no, or they were judging something by face value, like judging a book by its cover, because the swords, no shade, can be a bit aloof. Sometimes they might not be all that deep like cups could be. Cups represents more depth, I would say, than swords, like air energy for the most part. Not to say it's any less intelligent or brilliant or anything like that, but it's just a different energy. So it's like somebody may have scanned the surface, or just based off of what they literally could see or perceive, and their sight had not matured or advanced to the point that would have allowed them to see deeper, or to see beyond like material or maybe superficial. I'm struggling to say superficial, but not necessarily superficial, maybe materialistic. What's this Queen of Swords observing over here or entertaining? Ooh, conflict. Could this have been an inner conflict? Competition? Could have been the options. What's this? Let me see. What's this Five of Swords? Oh, wow. Wow, it's the Six of Wands, a progression in this wand energy. Oh, they went against their better judgment. So it's saying to me that somebody did have, okay, so that they did have the discernment, let's say, to choose from a deeper place, or maybe even from a higher place, like a higher perspective than just sheerly material gain, or what would be, an immediate advantage or come up. Maybe not immediate, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like they had the intel, and they had or maybe this is what has progressed. No, because I feel like maybe perhaps there was an initial, what did I say? Like, not a rejection, but like a refusal, like an objection to what they saw or what they felt, what appeared to be maybe an obvious choice or a better option for something else. Maybe again, back to that idea of something not so deep, or just a little bit more approachable or practical, even in some cases. May have been the initial response, but at some point in time, someone did have, like, this is like a grown-up mindset with the Queen of Swords, where their ignorance could have been the excuse at one point in time, or just misconception or misperception, whichever one makes sense. But at some point in time, somebody was more than responsible and capable for their choices, and more than educated or enlightened, I would say, to some degree. And they still chose against their better judgment. Someone still chose some conflicting concept or conflicting idea or ideal that really, I'm feeling like there were plenty of red flags to warn someone against going in a particular direction. But instead of them truly protecting themselves, or again, just making a higher judgment call, they continued on anyway. And now have found themselves in this space of the Seven of Wands, or this is what it amounted to putting themselves in a position like kind of in, I almost said the devil's lair. I don't even know why, because it's nothing too heavy out here right now, but I just feel with the Judgment card, it just feels like, you know, something is out here. Oh, and then my phone lights up at 8:17. That's almost at 8:08. So it's just like, yeah, like somebody was well informed enough to make a better decision, and maybe even had like a do-over opportunity or a second chance, or yeah, with Judgment cards, they could have had a second chance, maybe more than that, to kind of pull themselves out of some conflict, and they still either kept making the same choice over and over again, or associating themselves in the same entanglements over and over, or they just didn't get out when they had a chance or something. I don't know. Let me see. What's after this Judgment? Because it's like the universe had to bring the hammer down with the Judgment card, while this person is still kind of fighting for their life, you know, amongst this chaos. Not in a safe space at all. Like they found themselves in a bit of a pickle. And at this point, it's like, when that trumpet sounds, ain't no excuses to be accepted at that point in time, because what gets to, here's the past reflection, what gets to be considered at the point of judgment is all the many opportunities one had to do something different, to do something productive, to do something prosperous with their free will. Now, when the Judgment card is here, you don't get to run it back. You don't get to spin the block. You don't get extra time or extra credit. It's just basically judging off of what you did with what you had. And this is not somebody that can claim like ignorance as a defense, as I said, because where they may have been kind of misguided at one point in time, the Queen of Swords is here smack in the middle. So that means there was information, there was vital information, there was enlightenment, there was, I don't know, like there, there was knowledge. Ooh, this one kind of tried to flip upside down too. Yeah, almost upside down. With the Strength card, I'll keep it upright but that definitely was a bit of a struggle. So that's where someone could be right now, like struggling to either gather their strength for what I just had a vision of like when you see those clips on YouTube, if you see those clips of when they read the sentencing to after a trial, and people are like buckling down, or they're like passing out, or they're you know, like they kind of have an outburst, or, you know, some type of emotional reaction. That's what I just had a flash of with the Strength card being in the struggle like that. It's like somebody is now hearing the verdict of their of some judgment, you know, or experiencing it firsthand. It may not even be a here situation. It might literally be just the hammer coming down on somebody on account of poor choices, you know, or ill-informed choices, let's say, that at the most graceful, in the most graceful way, like somebody that was just ill-informed. But like I said, this is somebody that knew better. Let me get one more. Well, it definitely is given completion of a cycle, especially with the Judgment card here. That's an end, as a matter of fact. 10-10. A double end. Like I said, it's like there's nothing else to talk about. Except for, what's the word? Like when you read the verdict, the sentencing. That's what I was trying to say. Like they hear their sentencing, like how much the judge is going to give them. The verdict too, especially if somebody anticipated, you know, getting off or being innocent, you know, pled not guilty to the charges that are pretty clear here, you know, maybe pled some type of, you know, they didn't know, or they weren't aware, or whatever the case. There was some type of defense that's been made here or has been given that just isn't gonna fly, or hasn't been accepted, and somebody is now just going to have to gather the strength that they have to now get ready to start this new cycle. Let's see what's on the end of this strength card. Because like I said, everybody's on the threshold of something new. Good, bad, or indifferent. Hell, if you still got breath in your body, as I say, it's all good. Because that means there's always more time to make changes or have a different outcome. But yeah, but somebody may not be able to see it that way at this time with the Seven of Cups. It may feel more, or it could just be like the haze of not knowing, not being able to predict how what the future holds, or how they're even going to manage it, if they even have the strength to sustain, you know, to survive. I struggled to almost say that, but to sustain themselves through whatever this judgment is, this new season is. Like this, it's a bit hazy. Like it's, you know, because consider, even after a judge reads the verdict and then perhaps the sentencing, you have no idea, you know, usually you have no idea what you're truly going to face, where you're going. You know what I mean? Like you don't know sometimes you don't know what facility you're going to go to, or if, considering it's a matter of like jail, you know, the ultimate punishment for the most part, unless it's capital punishment. But here is not that, obviously, or at least I don't know. I don't think so. But you don't know what it's going to be like at the facility that you're in, or how you're going to manage yourself. You know it's going to be stressful, or at least a time that you rather not be doing. You know what I mean? Hell, even with something like probation or something like that, if you came out, like, say, for instance, Young Thug's been circulating in the in pop news lately, and he's on, I didn't even know that he was on probation for 20 years. And it's like, damn, for a dude like that, who knows how he's going to fare, or end up getting sent up for the time that he was going to do anyway, because he slipped up out here, being under a watchful eye for that long, you know, kind of having to be you know, pristine under the government's eye, under law enforcement's eye. Like, that's hard to do for a character like that. So even whether it's jail, whatever the sentence is for someone, it's not necessarily the most favorable, or at least it's something that's going to require a great deal of strength and perhaps long suffering, endurance. I don't know, like it's going to require a lot of someone to make it through. And at this point in time, it's a deep consideration of whether or not they have what it takes to see it through. It's unknown at this time, especially not knowing what to look forward to in the first place. Damn, this is. Let me just get a couple more. I'm like, this what we working with. Like what? But I guess to raise the vibration a little bit is that although it tried to come out in a struggle, it's upright on the table. So that means someone does have the strength if they believe that they do. And also, just as mysterious as the Seven of Cups can be, you know, looking toward the future or looking toward the unknown, it could not be as bad as the worst one could think. Put it like that. You know, it's like you could think the worst of what's ahead of you, or you could think the best of it, and it would more or less be in your hands or up to your judgment to do so, and actually have it be that way, or to ultimately the strength might even be in that fortitude in mind and spirit to have a positive outlook no matter what. You know, like even if it's a matter of I'm going to prison. All right, well, I'm going to do my time. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to, you know, utilize every resource that there's available to me in there. And maybe, hell, like, I don't know, turn my life around or figure out some way to more or less like transmute this energy in my favor, you know, or for my good. There's always that take, you know, the higher road, if you can manage to do so. But the reason why the strength is a struggle is because when you're in circumstances that push you to have to muster, if you're in a circumstance that pushes you to have to gather every ounce of the strength you have to see the bright side, it's already a challenge, you know, like to your 3D existence. So, you know, it's definitely it's not an easy feat, a small feat, but it's doable. Plenty of people go away or find themselves in compromising positions, and some might argue come out better for it or after it, you know. 8:30 as my phone lights up again. I'm doing great time though. I'm definitely gonna make that 9 o'clock prayer, that's for sure. Cause there ain't even no need to stay in this energy too long. I thought about ending it right there. I wanted something positive. Maybe I should end it there. One more. If I don't get a card out of this one, then we're going to end it right there. Yeah. That popped in and out. Ooh, the Ten of Swords. Another ending, though. It's a rough one, whatever it was, but it is an ending. They just popping in and popping out. I think we're done here. We're done here. Let's see what's on the bottom. Yeah, somebody's just gotta be at rest, you know, to kind of be accepting of, like, almost surrendered to what is at this moment. You know, it's definitely no need to fight, no need to conjure any more aggression toward the current circumstances than is necessary, because it would ultimately, it's like depleting your energy to fight against whatever this is. It's kind of like if when you're in the courtroom and the judge is reading your sentencing and you falling out or you want to fight, or those people that like even go a step further, like throw a chair at the judge in anger or some stuff like that. It's like, for what? You're still going to jail, and now you might even make it worse. You know, because them guards are definitely going to rough you up a little bit on your way out. So it's like, it's not even worth it. You just surrender to what is. Again, draw in all the strength and energy you possibly can to see, at least to, because it may not be, it may not be realistic for somebody to see the absolute best out of their sentence, so to speak, or some judgment that's been made on their life as it stands right now, like, and while it's still raw, but to at least put yourself in a position to accept your reality, to accept the truth, and to invest your energy in creating the best outcome of it. You know, doing the most in your power to make sure that every bit of it, even if it's only a little bit of it that can be, is used towards something good in your life, or that you're using it towards something good. Because anything else would just be exhaustion, you know, unnecessary exhaustion, like the Four of Swords. You know, it's going to go down. It's happening no matter what. It's going down no matter what. Like, you can't physically change the ruling of the divine or the ruling of the judge or whomever is in authority overseeing some type of decision. It's out of someone's hands, really, except for how they react and respond to it. Let's see, what's this here? The Six of Pentacles. And yeah, with the 7 right up there, that's it right there too. Even though I kind of see, is that the devil peeking out? Yeah, I do. So that's the temptation to want to kind of, you know, act out or sabotage and not surrender or submit. But the Six of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles is yet another progression that says that there is something to be gained from the experience. There, you know, first of all, Six of Pentacles is definitely you know, what goes around comes around, or a cause and effect type of thing. So if someone can accept their responsibility in this outcome, then they can ultimately turn it around and yield something productive from it, even if it's in the long run or in the future. So I guess that's like the long-term hope and prayer for someone, because it's, like I said, it's not realistic for anybody in such a strained situation to feel that way right away. But ideally, that would be the adopted mentality for the best outcome in the long run for the future. So and here it is, to the point of closing a cycle completely. Because if you can't mentally come to a place of acceptance with especially your co-creativity in a cycle and in an experience or an outcome in your life, you're destined to repeat that energy, whether it be in the midst of your judgment or in the midst of whatever you're going through, or after it. Like that's where you get, repeat offenders that may or may not have made the most of their time to educate themselves, to read, to pray, to, you know, meditate, to be productive in the community. Not to say, you know, prison. It keeps coming back to that, and I don't know why, but not to say prison is made to not our system anyway, it's truly made to be rehabilitating, but it's like taking the most of what you're given and doing the best with it. There are people that do it. There's a guy on YouTube, matter of fact, what's his name? Banky Pound, I think is his name. I used to watch his videos sometimes. And he was really inspirational. He did I think 30 years, 33 years or something like that in hard time in the South. And he tells a lot of stories about his time and people that he met and this and that. He talks about the growing pains in the system when he was a knucklehead and what he got sent away for. I mean, for him to have done so much time is ridiculous. it wasn't even like, I don't think it was anything violent. I think it was like theft or something more or less kind of minor, all things considered. But he got the book thrown at him, and he had a hard time in the system for a little while until he matured and he started to make the most of it. And now that he's out, his channel was pretty big. Like, people, I know last I checked, it's been a while, but he had quite a few subscribers and people that tap in to hear his stories. And he speaks to not just, you know, glorifying the time that he had inside, but, you know, really trying to be an encouragement, you know, even a cautionary tale for young guys now not to go that route, you know, if you can help it at all. So that's the idea of like doing the best, doing the most with the least, you know what I mean? But yeah, and that's even on the other side of it all. But there's something still to be gained in the midst of the tribulation, perhaps. And that word is loaded. That just gave me a whole nother energy with it, especially with the Judgment card, like some type of universal tribulation period that some may be experiencing at this time that feels heavy, you know, that feels that it may not, it doesn't have to be physical incarceration, but just feels like a constriction or binding to the circumstances in the earth that are taking place. Many, it feels like against our will, but for the most part, it's just a matter of what you, in a lot of ways, it's a matter of what you make agreements with, you know, what you accept in your life to be true or to be, to take precedence. And so as people are even learning through those trials, what they will yield to and what not to, that could be, you know, another aspect of it as well, like almost being groomed to a higher calling, so to speak. Yeah. By the pressures of this lower frequency and density in this world. That's another side of it. So I guess it could be, you could kind of collapse the ideals a bit if you're able to, from the more practical sense of it with prison or some type of judgment that's been dredged up here, and something perhaps a bit more spiritual in nature, which is probably more of what it is than anything for most, of course. But either way, like I said, it's all about how you see it, you know, how you see your circumstances and how you react and respond to it. The power is still in your hands according to your free will, even when you feel like you don't have your own physical free will. You still got your mind, you still hopefully have your spirit and, you know, your soul, hopefully. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed because it just feels like a real hard message for the 999. But you know, it is what it is. Take what of it that you can, and if nothing else, it's just a story. So leave it where it is if it doesn't apply. Yeah, but in the meantime, I guess if it doesn't apply, it's a definitely a consideration of the pressure that others may be experiencing in real time, and to, you know, really practice your discernment and your engagement with energies outside of yourself, whether it be platonic, professional, creative, romantic, familial. You know, everybody's going through some changes, and not everybody is managing it in the highest frequency. So it would definitely be protective to consider what energies you align yourself with or expose yourself to during this very sensitive time of transition. You know, and that can apply to anyone and everyone. All right, so I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening and watching. Happy 999. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.